Hey everyone, Ryan Steva from the homesteadconsultant.com here. Today I'm actually going to be talking about use cases for a small inverter suitcase generator, where they work, where they don't work, and why I think just about everybody should have one of these. So let's just get straight to the point. A small inverter generator like this is not going to run large loads. It's not going to run your entire house. It's not going to run large devices, but it will do a lot of things that are really important and has use cases for camping, for power outages, for homesteading, and for remote work. So let's kind of unpack some of those and talk about what it can and can't do and how to work around some of the limitations, because there are ways of using a small generator like this to actually run large items. So the primary purpose in one of these is to be quiet, portable, and very fuel efficient. I've been using this specific generator from AI Volt up here on a mountain to repair a spring box system, and I've been running it basically nonstop for 3 days, charging batteries, running my electric pressure washer, running some other pumps, and doing a handful of other things like charging the phone that is recording this video right now. So let's talk about some of the benefits a little bit more specifically. There are several reasons why these are much quieter. The first is that they're able to actually ramp down the RPMs on the engine and idle down when they're using less power. The reason other generators or typical open frame generators can't ramp down their RPMs is because they need to spin at a certain speed to get the right hertz and voltage. Because these inverter generators have the inverter built into them, they're able to modulate the voltage based on what it needs to be instead of how fast the engine is spinning. Meaning that a generator like this usually has a less than 3% THD. Another reason they're much quieter is their closed frame. So this is all enclosed, meaning that the sound from the engine running and from the stator turning and things like that are all within this case. And so that really muffles and dampens the sound. And because of that, they're so quiet that you can use them in places like campgrounds and RV parks. And for me out here, when I'm working in nature and don't want to hear a loud, obnoxious generator all day long, just having this thing humming away in the background, charging up some drill batteries, actually works really well for me. Now, because it can ramp the RPMs down or slow down the engine but keep the voltage and the hertz the same, that allows it to also not only be quiet but also use a lot less fuel. So in running this almost constantly for the last 3 days, I've used well less than a gallon of fuel in 3 days of operation. Additionally, where these suitcase inverter generators really shine is their portability. This thing without fuel in it is less than 25 pounds, and with fuel in it is about 26 pounds. So I can carry it easily, and just about any adult should be able to easily move this around. It's also very small and compact, so I can pack it in my RV or in my vehicle when I'm going camping or going to a job site like I did today. I was able to get it up the side of a mountain in this UTV easily because it's so light, compact, and small. So one of the biggest use cases I can think of and most beneficial things that you can use a small inverter generator like this for is actually keeping a freezer or refrigerator running during a power outage. So based on general wattage pull, you should be able to both keep a freezer or refrigerator running, as well as a couple of small LED lights and maybe a small fan, all at the same time, based on general wattage draw. And because refrigerators and freezers don't run all the time, you can actually swap between them. So if you have a big chest freezer and a refrigerator, you can swap between those to keep those going. So that's one workaround for the small size of this generator, to make sure that they don't both turn on at the same time and overload it. Another great use case for this, and what I've been using it for primarily while I've been up here on the mountain, is recharging power tool batteries. So I can recharge all kinds of power tool batteries, both on the job site, but also for outages. So if I want to keep lights going, power tool batteries are a great way of keeping lights going. You can, of course, keep phones, flashlights, heated blankets, just about anything like that that can be USB charged. can be charged off of this. Other things that you can run in the home during an outage would be things like heat tape for plumbing, small transfer pumps, electric fence chargers, lighting, internet, so things like Starlink, your modem, your router, of course, fans, laptops, a small Instant Pot, a pellet stove, diesel heaters, and even small sump pumps. Now, I mentioned being able to use one of these in a creative way to actually be able to run larger items. And the way that you can do that is using something like a Blue Yeti or a Jackery and charging those with this. Or in your RV, if you're charging up or topping up your RV batteries, or if you've got some type of solar array in your home and you just need to keep those batteries a little bit higher than what they've been, you can use something like this to top off batteries. And so I can actually connect this to my mobile solar generator, which I'll put a link to in the description, because I actually go through how to build your own mobile solar generator. And I can actually run this to top that off during the night when the sun's not shining. And then I can use the mobile solar generator as my power source. So it can actually run more than this can. And I can run multiple refrigerators or multiple freezers off of that, as well as lighting and things. And what that does is it will take that surge capacity, raise the surge capacity, and then this can keep the batteries topped off. You can also run things like a CPAP, or you could charge e-bike batteries. It's quiet enough for most campgrounds, it's light enough for overlanding, and it's so light and compact that it's easily taken with you just about anywhere you want to go. And since it's so fuel efficient, you have to bring a lot less fuel than you otherwise would. Additionally, if you're using this for home backup power and you connect it to something like a mobile solar power station, like a Blue Yeti or a Jackery or an EcoFlow to top the batteries off, a small amount of fuel will get you through a very long outage, as opposed to a larger generator that will burn through fuel a lot faster. They're also so inexpensive that you can buy two and you can have multiple on hand. So if one stops working, you have another that you can swap out easily. So there's a lot of reasons to consider, if you can make it work, one of these small generators as opposed to a bigger generator. And even if you have a bigger generator, having one of these small generators for the use cases I mentioned, as well as for backup, is a really great idea because of its inexpense and functionality. Another major advantage is during outages, if you're running your home off of a very large, loud generator, you're going to be kind of a target. So if you've got an extended power outage and you're running a big, loud generator, people are going to notice. If you're running one of these, even your neighbors are likely not going to hear it. So I personally think that it's a better, safer option in long-term preparedness outage situations where you might be concerned about somebody wanting to take your things. Let's say a hurricane came through where you live and wiped out the power, and people were really desperate and they hear a big, loud generator running in your backyard. Well, there's a high probability somebody may come and steal that, or at least think about it. Whereas something like this, they're not even going to hear, especially if it's in your backyard and away from other homes, and you're just keeping your refrigerator going so your food doesn't spoil. So I've already talked about remote work sites, but if you're a homesteader and you've got a large property and you need to run something further out than you have power from your home, this is a great option, because like right where I am, I've been able to take this with me on the UTV. I could have walked up here with it. It's so light. It's perfect for running things like heat lamps for your chickens if you need to. It's great for running things like fans or even transfer pumps in remote locations where you're unable to get power otherwise. So it can be extremely helpful and beneficial on the homestead as well. Another benefit to the inverter system on these is that it keeps really nice, smooth, consistent sine wave power to your devices, which means you're a lot less likely to damage devices, especially sensitive electronics. So if you're interested in buying one of these generators, I've actually been working with AI Volt to test this unit out. Like I said, I've been using it for 3 days nonstop to do all kinds of things up here on the hillside. It's performed great. It's done a really good job. This is the 1600 watt version. It's a 1600 peak watts, which means it's a 1250 running watt unit that has all kinds of great features. I'll leave a link in the description for a video I did on all the different features, the different parts and pieces of it, so you can see a full view of it. But if you're interested in purchasing this, I have a link. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it gives me a few bucks for helping you find a good product and getting a chance to test this out in the real world for you. So if you're interested, please check out that link. If you need anything else from me, check out the homesteadconsultant.com. I've got all my information there, as well as a whole bunch of other do-it-yourself homestead type videos. Thanks for watching.